Today we invite you on a special journey of self-discovery and personal growth. In this one-hour video, we explore the profound world of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has enlightened the minds of many and helped them find true joy, precious wisdom, and inner peace. During this adventure through Stoicism, we will explore several important teachings. From the eternal wisdom of Marcus Aurelius to the essential principles that can transform our lives, we will uncover the secret of true happiness through amor fati, the love of fate, that is, the acceptance and appreciation of everything life brings. Let us also understand the duality of existence, which is a powerful tool that brings us clarity, helps us make the right decisions, and maintains calm even when life is full of challenges. To maintain peace and a clear mind, it is very important that we avoid 6 habits that contradict the teachings of Stoicism. Additionally, we'll learn how to take control of our lives by adopting a Stoic routine and developing a sense of calm and strength to face difficulties. Follow us as we explore implementing the teachings of Marcus Aurelius to create happier and more productive days and improve our ability to overcome procrastination, guided by Stoicism. Let us now begin our journey on the path of Stoicism toward a life full of meaning and success. In today's hectic and confusing world, finding peace and meaning can be difficult. But don't worry, for Stoicism is the key to this quest. Immerse yourself in the profound teachings and practical simplicity of this ancient philosophy, and discover how to create a daily routine that will help you find a special balance, grow as a person, and experience inner peace. With the help of Stoicism, which imparts valuable lessons through the wisdom of Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, it's easier to embark on the path to a life of values. This philosophy has proven itself over the years and continues to be an important tool for developing strength, calm, and personal satisfaction. Embark on an adventure of self-discovery and self-determination as we show you how to transform your life. Learn the secrets of a morning and evening routine that will lead you to great success. Begin each day with a strong will and true joy. Remember the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and balance. These qualities serve as a guide for making right and courageous decisions in the search for harmony in all moments of life. Use gratitude as a constant friend. Develop a deep sense of gratitude for all the blessings, special experiences, and loved ones who are part of your story. Experience how this gratitude fills your heart with joy and helps dispel any feelings of dissatisfaction. Approach each day with a strong mind by practicing negative visualization. This means imagining potential challenges to better prepare yourself and gain the calm and wisdom to overcome difficulties and emerge stronger. Through writing, you bring the power of Stoicism to life. Keep a journal in which you record your wishes, feelings, and thoughts. This journal should serve as a guide and offer you advice and support, especially in difficult times. Live a Stoic lifestyle and remain calm and elegant in the face of the world. Learn to focus and be productive, even when many things around you demand your attention. Develop a sense of justice and kindness in everything you do so that your heart will grow and you will better understand those around you. Handle stress calmly and remember that you can only control what is in your hands. Let wisdom guide your steps. Take the opportunity to rest and recharge as night falls. Take time to reflect on what happened during the day, learn from each experience, and celebrate your personal growth. Accept that no one is perfect and commit to constant improvement. Plan your dreams for the next day and embark on your journey with courage and determination. A future full of wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control awaits you. Use Stoicism as a tool to shape your own life. Find the path that aligns with your dreams, values, and daily commitments. Stoicism is flexible and allows you to adapt it to your own needs. Stay committed to practicing Stoicism and create a consistent routine. This philosophy offers a journey of personal growth and transformation. Discover the beauty of living Stoicism in every moment of your life. Bring wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control to your friendships, your work, and your projects. In a world full of change and surprises, Stoicism is your guide, guiding you to balance inner strength and peace of mind. Live with mindfulness and clarity, and follow in the footsteps of the Stoics. Move forward with courage and firm faith. Every day is an opportunity to grow and learn, and wisdom is always at your side. May your search for a life of meaning and abundance be filled with clarity and peace. Begin your day with a heart full of joy and gratitude. Let the 4 cardinal virtues guide you on your path and focus on the many blessings that make your life special. When you truly appreciate and are grateful for something, every hint of dissatisfaction or longing disappears. Embrace this feeling of true gratitude and greet each day with joy and peace, giving meaning to what truly matters. Practice being thankful for everything good and always express your gratitude. Remember that each thing has contributed to your development. It's important to consider all of this when being thankful. As Emerson wisely said, foresee the problems that may arise throughout the day. Think about the challenges and difficulties that may come your way. But you needn't worry, because you have the wisdom, courage, justice, and control to handle it all. By reflecting on these situations and their possible outcomes, you develop a calm strength that enables you to adapt and grow even in difficult times. This practice will help you move calmly through the day, unfazed by the surprises and changes life brings. Now is the time to put your ideas and thoughts down on paper. Keeping a journal is a powerful tool used by Stoic philosophers such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Take a few minutes each morning to write down your desires, feelings, and anything else you notice around you. In doing so, you will create a bright light of wisdom and caring that will help you meet the challenges of today's world. In the steady pace of life, we may experience moments that test our strength. But don't worry, Stoicism offers a set of strategies for these difficult times. This will help you maintain your balance, build your resilience, and move through life with grace and courage. When you suffer from stress, remember that wisdom lies within you. Find comfort in reason and reflection. Focus your energy on what you can control and allow what is beyond your reach to happen. This way, you will face difficulties with calm, strength, and intelligence. The main goal of life is precisely this: to learn to separate what is beyond your control from what is within your control. It's important to focus your attention on what you can choose, because justice and goodness arise from inner choices, not from things you cannot change. Pay attention to the teachings of Epictetus. On your path to understanding and courage, Stoicism will serve as a shining example and offer you valuable advice. Wake up each day knowing it's an opportunity to grow, learn, and become stronger. Learn the art of living with purpose and clarity, and follow the Stoic path to a life filled with meaning. Turn distractions into useful moments to be more productive. Amid the hustle and bustle of the modern world, distractions are constant. But as a true follower of Stoicism, you carefully cultivate the virtue of moderation, improve your discipline, and let balance guide you. When something happens that distracts your attention, acknowledge it, but gently bring your focus back to what you're doing. This exercise will bring a deep sense of calm within you and help you harness the power of your thoughts to achieve your goals. It's important that you follow the Stoic qualities of justice, wisdom, and kindness in your conversations and behavior toward others. Every encounter is an opportunity to make a lasting impression. It's important to be aware of how what you say and do can affect the people around you in every moment. Use this opportunity to learn, grow, and better understand the lives of others. Today, you may encounter problems such as distraction, ingratitude, rudeness, betrayal, malice, and selfishness. These attitudes are often due to a lack of understanding on the part of those who act in this way and do not know how to distinguish between right and wrong. On the other hand, I have long since understood the essence and greatness of good, as well as the truth about evil and smallness. I also understood the true nature of those who make mistakes, who may not be brothers in blood, but rather other people with intelligence and a special light within them. I can't be angry with my brother, nor do I want to harbor any resentment toward him. We are here to help and support one another, just as a person's hands, feet, eyelids, or upper and lower teeth work together. If we behave the way someone wants us to, it's as if we were going against the natural order of things. And what good is anger or hatred if they only hinder us and delay our progress? We can learn from the teachings of Marcus Aurelius that it's all about accepting differences and growing even in difficult times. Throughout our lives, we will certainly encounter unexpected challenges and difficult moments that can either help us become stronger or bring us down. As a staunch follower of Stoicism, view these difficult moments as opportunities to learn and improve. Use courage and understanding to face difficulties with calm and dignity. Practice imagining worst-case scenarios. Trust in the strength you've built by following Stoic teachings. In this way, you transform problems into valuable lessons that represent important steps on your path to growth and happiness. Prepare now for a night of wisdom and reflection as the sun sets and the day comes to an end. Take some time to look within and reflect on everything that happened today. Write down the challenges you overcame, the decisions you made, and what you learned. As Seneca so wisely said, it's important to constantly observe our actions and, even more importantly, to carefully reflect on everything we experience daily. This reflection is very important, as it helps us correct mistakes. Few people truly pause to look back and reflect on their lives as a whole. Instead, we often focus only on what comes next. However, it's important to understand that our plans for the future are shaped by the experiences we've already had. Allow yourself to forgive your own mistakes and always strive to grow as a person. Practice self-forgiveness with kindness and understanding. Know that personal development is a long journey that requires constant dedication. Learn from your mistakes and strive for improvement. Create a sense of calm in your heart and accept who you are as you follow your Stoic path. Plan the coming day using what you learned today. Set goals for tomorrow. Apply the teachings of the Stoics to your attitudes, decisions, and relationships with others. In this way, you will build a life of balance and meaning. Inspired by the teachings of Stoicism, take time to relax at night before bed. Try to calm your body and mind, perhaps through deep breathing or imagining peaceful places. This will free you from the tiredness and worries of the day. This way you can rest deeply and wake up ready to see each new day as an opportunity to grow and learn. The world can offer us both its greatest joys and its most difficult challenges. In life, we often find moments of happiness, peace, and love. But we also experience suffering, pain, loss, illness, and grief. Life is like an unpredictable river that we can neither control nor change. Most of the time, all we can do is go with the flow, even if it doesn't flow in the direction we want. Epictetus, a great philosopher, taught that we shouldn't fight this complicated fate. Instead, we must accept and appreciate it, for only then will we find true peace within ourselves. In Stoicism, this deep acceptance of fate is called amor fati. This means not only enduring life's good and bad moments, but also loving life itself with all its complexities, for it is the greatest gift we have been given. While it seems simple to think about, it is very difficult to put this idea into practice every day. How can we accept suffering? How can we cope with the loss of a loved one, for example? How do you find beauty and strength, even in the depths of sadness? It may seem strange that the Stoics were crazy when they created an idea like amor fati, which means to love fate. But in fact, they were very wise and knew exactly what they were saying. Why should you choose to live like a Stoic and follow the teachings of great philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus? Because when we accept life as a whole, with its good and bad moments, we have the best chance of learning virtues and achieving true happiness. Marcus Aurelius once said to accept your fate no matter what it may be. Only by accepting each moment can we find peace in our hearts. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, explained that amor fati means loving everything that is part of our life, not just the victories, but also the mistakes and sadness, as they are valuable lessons for growth and a better understanding of life. Amor fati is one of the most difficult Stoic teachings to put into practice. However, difficult does not mean impossible. This means that we will need a lot of commitment and strength to achieve it. Always remember that what is difficult to achieve is often of great value. Our well-being depends largely on engaging in the amor fati attitude, and therefore we must do everything we can to make it happen. In this video, I want to help you improve your understanding of amor fati so that you can develop more virtue and joy in life. To do this, I have divided the video into two parts. First, I will explain what the Stoics mean by fate and why we should accept it wholeheartedly. Below, I'll give you 5 important tips to help you implement this idea in your daily life and thus strengthen your commitment to it. Before we begin, I'd kindly ask you to support the video by liking, as this will help spread this profound philosophy to more people. To make sure you don't miss a video, it's worth subscribing and clicking the bell. In ancient times, the Stoics believed that there were no coincidences. They believed that everything in the world functioned perfectly because it followed important rules created by divine beings. Therefore, they viewed the universe as a unified whole, with every part carefully organized in perfect harmony and order. Everything that happened had a clear reason, a specific purpose, and an understandable cause. In other words, everything followed a law of logic and reason. For the Stoics, the same rational law that governs the universe is also present within each person in their consciousness. This special connection helps us know what is right and good. Those who listen to the voice of their own conscience are in harmony with reason and goodness. Those who deviate from this universal law which lives in the human mind fall into irrationality and stray from what is morally right. We call the complex plan that the universe has designed for each of us destiny. Our fate is part of this general balance that the cosmos represents. Therefore, everything that happens in our lives, whether good or bad, even if we don't understand it or can't change it, is necessary and has a reason. Everything has a meaning and follows a reason, even if we are sometimes unaware of it. That's why, even in difficult times, we must try to look beyond ourselves, accept the path laid out for us, and live in peace. Loving one's destiny means understanding it deeply. But it's important to know the difference between acceptance and giving up. Giving up has a sad connotation, as if we don't want to act in the face of problems. Acceptance, on the other hand, is a positive thing. It means acknowledging reality and acting based on what we learn. A Stoic never gives up. They choose to accept things. It's about accepting things as they are. To understand this, the idea of the Stoic separation between what we can control and what we cannot control is essential. Essentially, this means that things in the world, our health or illness, disasters or miracles, life or death, are beyond our control. We cannot change these things and therefore must not allow them to destroy our hearts. So what is within our control? The answer lies in our judgment of these things and in our strength of will. As Epictetus said, our will can govern itself and nothing else can command it. We have an incredible ability to choose how we act and react to the situations around us. We can choose to escape the fate that has already been laid out for us, or we can accept it, knowing that this is the path we have been given and the one we must follow to seek happiness. For the Stoics, this choice is true freedom, to accept fate and align our desires with what is just and good. On the other hand, we can also reject the reality we live in and follow a path filled with error and evil. What truly distinguishes good from evil, according to Epictetus, is the disposition of our will. Marcus Aurelius reinforces this idea by saying that true evil is expressed in the form of vices and bad deeds. These bad things were given to human beings by divine powers, but we were also given the power to turn away from them if we wanted. In every situation, good or bad, we have the power to choose to act kindly or to fall into evil. For example, if we get sick, we can struggle to get well again and enjoy life despite being in that state. We can forget who we are, act thoughtlessly, neglect our health, and get angry at everything and everyone. But if we strive to do the right thing and follow the voice within us that tells us that every experience helps us improve, we will achieve the 4 virtues of Stoicism. Happy moments bring us great joy, but we must remember that they don't last forever. Remember the video I made about the importance of temperance. It's important to know that even these good times will pass. Difficult times change us, test us, and make us grow. Even though these challenges seem very difficult, they help us become stronger and evolve. These difficult times are just as important, or even more so, than the good times. Therefore, to live the idea of amor fati, we must also have courage. This courage helps us to withstand the strong storms that suddenly come upon us leaving behind difficulties and confusion. Those who truly live the principle of amor fati, or love of one's own destiny, also develop qualities such as justice and wisdom. This person understands the value of every moment in life. Most importantly, it is connected to reason, which governs the universe and guides the path of every human being. This knowledge is a powerful gift in the search for a life full of meaning and true happiness. As you can see, accepting one's destiny activates the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism and inspires us to give our best. Don't you think that accepting what life brings us and recognizing the meaning of our existence is essential to living a courageous and purposeful life? Can we truly appreciate life if it offers no challenges and we have no search for true joy? It's also useful to reflect that happiness doesn't come without effort and that we must accept what fate offers us. It's important to accept our personal path and align our desires with reason, as this is the Stoic path to finding true and lasting happiness. To conclude this video, I'd like to share with you some words from wise Stoics about amor fati. Seneca says that those who accept their fate are guided, while those who resist are lost and directionless. He also points out that those who never face difficulties miss the opportunity to grow and truly know themselves. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius says that it's natural for humans to appreciate and follow what fate has in store for them. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, warns us against wanting things to happen exactly our way. He believes that life flows more smoothly when we don't let our desires guide us. What do you think about this idea of amor fati? Can you accept your fate? Is there something in your life that's difficult to accept? Have you ever tried to accept a situation exactly as it happened, without trying to change it? I really want to know what you think in the comments. When someone truly understands their connections to the world, they achieve freedom because they can choose to detach from what binds them. In today's fast-paced world, we often allow ourselves to be guided by habits that only hinder our growth and even harm us. The Stoics taught that we should focus our attention on things within our control, thus freeing ourselves from strong emotions and desires we cannot anticipate. Today I want to talk to you about 6 habits that can be very bad for us. I have these habits myself, and they are very common in modern life. These habits can harm our mental health, hinder our development as human beings, and prevent us from living fairly and justly. Before I discuss each of them, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on yourself from an outsider's perspective, as if you were an observer. This way you can identify which of these bad habits might be affecting your life and then take responsibility for changing them. One of these habits is procrastination. Everyone has this hidden tendency, which sets in without us noticing. It seems small and unimportant, but it can actually cause a lot of problems. Procrastination means putting off tasks that we could and should do now. This behavior not only wastes our precious time and energy, but also causes us to constantly worry about what needs to be done without taking action. The teachings of the Stoics demonstrate the harm of putting off tasks. They say we shouldn't ignore our responsibilities because doing so harms our work, our reputation, and the trust others have in us. For the Stoics, procrastination is a form of self-disrespect because it violates our integrity and contributes to our failure to fulfill our obligations. When we put things off, we experience more stress and anxiety. As tasks pile up and deadlines approach, this constant worry takes a toll on our body and mind. This burden makes it difficult for us to think clearly and robs us of the peace that comes with a peaceful mind. Imagine you have an important assignment to complete soon. Instead of breaking it down into smaller pieces and completing them piece by piece, you leave it until the last minute. As time passes and the pressure mounts, you become nervous and overwhelmed, trying to get everything done in a hurry. By organizing tasks and keeping our promises, we take care of ourselves. It's better to spread the work over several days than to do it all at once. The bad habit of putting things off, known as procrastination, undermines the teachings of Stoicism and causes us to waste time, forget our responsibilities, and experience a great deal of stress and worry. To overcome this problem, we can learn to plan better, be disciplined, and prioritize what's important to us, such as our responsibilities and values. To avoid this mistake, our tip is, don't make promises when you're feeling very strong emotions. especially when you're very excited. This is because decisions in these moments are based more on feelings than reason. So before making a commitment, it's important to pause for a moment and reflect calmly, preferably when you're alone. It is also best not to make hasty decisions when we are very happy, so as not to make impulsive mistakes. Another problem the Stoics warned against is lying, which is widespread in today's society and causes great harm. Those who lie end up trapped by their own worries and fears, as if they were caught in a trap. Truth and sincerity collapse when we give in to lies. The Stoics placed great value on honesty and truth, believing these to be the pillars of a good and just life. When we lie, we stray from these values and harm our true selves. Furthermore, lying weakens friendships and relationships because it destroys trust, which is the foundation of everything. Once someone discovers a lie, it becomes very difficult to trust again. This is why the Stoics talked about the importance of trust and respect for strong and happy relationships. Lies create a false reality that traps us in a complicated and exhausting web of deception. This creates fear and discomfort for no real reason. Consider this example. You see shocking news on social media and share it without thinking, without checking whether it's true or where it came from. Then you realize the news was a lie designed only to deceive. This not only embarrasses you, but also spreads false information that can harm others. Accepting everything we hear without question impairs our ability to think clearly and makes us vulnerable to manipulation and unlawful control. To avoid this, it's important to verify information, compare multiple sources, and above all, develop your own judgment to know what's true and what's not. When we lack our own criteria or are unable to draw our own conclusions, we become more vulnerable to the influences of the world around us and the ideas others try to impose on us. A very common problem today is the lack of good communication. Whether with friends, family, or colleagues, it's very important to be able to express ourselves clearly. But unfortunately, we often seem to forget this. In our conversations, many people fail to show genuine interest in one another and no longer listen attentively to each other. When we don't communicate well, misunderstandings about what the other person means can easily arise, leading to arguments and confusion. The Stoics placed great value on peace and unity among people and knew that poor communication could destroy these values. When we can't speak clearly about our feelings and desires, we ultimately become frustrated, irritable, and even angry. For Stoics, it is crucial for the meaningfulness of our conversations that they be truthful and honestly express our feelings. It is natural for humans to connect and share ideas with others. When we talk, there should be a genuine exchange of thoughts and opinions. Talking with someone should be enriching for us, not a tiring effort. Without good communication, misunderstandings, conflicts, and difficulties in expressing our feelings or desires arise. To improve this, I recommend improving your communication skills by learning new words and reading interesting texts. For me, truly listening made a huge difference. Instead of worrying about preparing a response while the other person spoke, I began to pay full attention to what was being said. This helped keep the conversation lively and made the other person feel valued. Through my constant effort to improve this skill, I'm now a much better communicator. Another habit that can be bad is constantly comparing yourself to others. I know you want to be better and stand out, even if you don't consciously choose to. This desire to outdo others is natural. But if you constantly do this, it can ultimately hurt your self-esteem and happiness. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we become dissatisfied because there's always someone out there who's achieved more, has more money, or is more talented. This can make us sad and frustrated even if we don't realize it. The teachings of the Stoics inspire us to focus on our own growth and appreciate what we have, instead of constantly comparing ourselves to others. When we constantly compare ourselves, we risk losing our true identity because we may feel like we have to change to conform to societal expectations. It's important to understand that this leads nowhere, because no matter how much someone pretends to be different, deep down they will always remain true to their true self. The Stoics believe that we should be authentic and live according to our own beliefs and values. Imagine constantly competing with your friends or colleagues, feeling like you're never good enough, and always trying to be better than them. This constant pressure can be very exhausting, making us sad and distancing ourselves from who we truly are. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we distance ourselves from our true selves. But this perspective changes when we realize that this comparison is pointless, because everything we need to be happy already exists within each of us. If we don't find something we're looking for within ourselves, we can look for it elsewhere. However, we must never forget that true happiness comes from personal growth, from striving to become a better person every day, and from competing only with ourselves. To truly grow, it's important to learn the sixth habit, observing how what's outside of us can influence our lives. Today, we often see people blaming their problems on those around them instead of taking responsibility for their decisions. This mindset takes away our power to control our own lives, because when we blame others, we give up trying to shape our own destiny. The Stoics placed great importance on understanding what is within our control and what is not. When we blame others, we distance ourselves from this essential understanding. This attitude can lead us to feel like victims and too dependent on others to feel good about ourselves. When we become fixated on blaming external factors, we miss the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and grow as people. If we don't learn from our mistakes, we miss the opportunity to grow as people. This approach deprives us of something very important: personal responsibility. The Stoics always remind us that we must recognize and accept the parts of our lives that we can control, by taking responsibility for what is ours and by avoiding blaming others for our situation. As people who want to do the right thing, it is our job to recognize these bad habits and strive to live with virtue, wisdom, and peace of heart. I want you to take some time to reflect on these habits in your life and really reflect on yourself. Remember, only when we understand the bonds that bind us can we free ourselves from them. From here, you have the power to create your own path. Growing as a person doesn't mean throwing away everything we previously believed, but rather carefully examining those ideas to know which ones should stay, which ones we should leave behind, and which ones need to transform into better ones. Like you, my values are influenced by Judeo-Christian culture, and I firmly believe in forgiveness. I try to behave towards people the way I would expect them to behave towards me. I don't envy others what they have, and am grateful for everything life offers me. We often find that our suffering is greater in our imagination than in reality. Long ago, around the year 300 BC, in the ancient city of Cyprus lived a rich man named Zeno. During a voyage from Phoenicia to the port of Piraeus, his ship sank, and all of his precious cargo sank to the bottom of the sea. Faced with this disaster, which he could not control, Zeno, the future founder of Stoicism, plunged from a life of wealth to poverty. Put yourself in his shoes. How would you react if your entire life's work were lost to a force of nature? Anger and feelings of injustice are normal for everyone, but Zeno faced this difficulty with a different mindset by following the teachings of Stoicism. At the core of Stoicism is the idea that a small shift in our perspective can bring about a major and lasting transformation. This philosophy, which Zeno developed after studying famous thinkers like Socrates, teaches us to accept the things we cannot change and to remain calm in the face of adversity. He believed that while we cannot control everything that happens in life, we have the power to determine how those events affect us. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong in the past, or in this case what was lost, Zeno emphasized the importance of using the control we have for our own good. He placed great emphasis on maintaining a calm and balanced attitude when faced with challenges, no matter what difficulties arose. Today, many people mistakenly believe that Stoics never feel strong emotions. They believe they don't get angry or afraid, but Stoicism is much more than that. It's not about not having feelings. Rather, it's a particular way of seeing, explaining, and understanding the world around us. This ancient philosophy remains relevant today because it helps us deal with our bad feelings and difficult moments, transforming these situations into lessons that change our perspective on life. Everyone sees the world differently because everyone has their own experiences. The Stoics like to speak openly and teach their ideas in public places so that everyone could learn something. They believed that Stoicism could help anyone regardless of their position in society. For example, Epictetus, who was a slave, is one of the most important figures of this philosophy. Also famous are Seneca, a great politician, and Marcus Aurelius, a powerful Roman emperor. The Stoics lived what they taught and fought against all forms of prejudice. They defended the equality of all people. They even coined the word cosmopolitan to express that a person is a citizen of the entire world. In early Stoicism, women were not permitted to participate in these philosophical activities, but the Stoics disagreed. Moroni Rufus, the teacher of Epictetus, said that men and women are born with a natural desire to do what is right. Women, like men, like to act honorably and justly and reject the opposite. This leads us to an important question. Why do so many people choose Stoicism as a guide for their lives in a world full of surprises and challenges? The answer lies in the emotions that sometimes prevent us from moving forward. It's not the fact that bad things happen that makes us sad, but rather when these things occur without warning and catch us off guard. Rain, for example, has many important benefits. It promotes plant growth, provides water for animals, and makes the air cooler and more humid. But if we get caught in a heavy rain and don't have an umbrella, the situation becomes unpleasant. Nevertheless, we don't feel sad when it starts to rain because we've learned to expect it. We accept that it's a part of life and we can't control time. Just as the rain passes and the sun comes out again, Stoicism teaches us to wait and accept when bad things happen. One of the teachings of Stoicism is to practice gratitude. There are exercises that help us appreciate what we have. For example, sleeping on the kitchen floor, taking a cold shower instead of a hot one, or eating only potatoes for a few days. These experiences help us understand that even in difficult times, we can not only survive, but also thrive if we have the right attitude. By going through these difficult situations, we train our minds to better deal with problems that may arise in the future. Today, advertising constantly tries to convince us that our happiness depends on our looks, our money, and our adherence to certain standards. Therefore, the ideas of Stoicism are even more relevant today. We come into this world with little knowledge and learn through family, school, and what we observe around us. However, these sources often convey different messages, which can lead to confusion. It's important to understand all of this, but also to recognize that sometimes we have unrealistic expectations, which can lead to disappointment and dissatisfaction. Such a life doesn't contribute to true happiness. The most important thing should be to improve ourselves for our own good. Our actions must be determined by our inner feelings, not by expectations or desires that come from outside. When we pin our hopes on external things, it almost always leads to sadness. We often try to fill a void with expensive objects, big houses, or even starting a family. Sometimes we do things just to impress others, not because they truly mean anything to us. Stoicism shows us a different path and teaches us that what really matters is the effort we put into things, not just what we hope to gain or achieve. It's very important to trust the path we've chosen and not get too caught up in friendships or social ties. Stoic philosophy shows a way to find contentment even when faced with difficulties. To have more self-confidence, we must focus on the things we can control. When we stop worrying about things beyond our reach, we can experience more joy and peace in life. The teachings of Stoicism help us face problems and find calm, even when everything is confusing. This philosophy has endured throughout history, and its wisdom remains effective today. It gives us the strength and clarity with which we can overcome the challenges of today's world. Furthermore, this ancient philosophy teaches the importance of developing emotional strength and accepting situations as they are. Even amidst chaos, the teachings of Stoic and Buddhist philosophers show us the path to calm and balance. Thinkers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius taught that true happiness comes not from running away from problems, but from developing virtues like courage and discipline, even when things get difficult. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea of understanding the difference between what we can control, our thoughts, choices, and values, and what we cannot control, the things that happen around us and the actions of others. We find true peace when we focus only on what is within our grasp and accept what is beyond our reach. The search for the meaning of life has accompanied humanity since time immemorial. By studying the teachings of existentialist philosophers like Sartre and Nietzsche, we learn to find a true path that corresponds to what we feel in our hearts. Stoicism reminds us of the importance of relationships and living together with others. Philosophers like Aristotle inspire us to build sincere friendships and maintain strong bonds as we continue our journey. Although Stoicism emphasizes the importance of virtue and self-control, it doesn't want us to withdraw from people or become indifferent to them. On the contrary, the Stoics believed that creating genuine bonds and participating in community life were essential to being virtuous and happy. Seneca, for example, devoted much of his thought to friendship, demonstrating its enormous value in our lives. He said we must seek out friends who share our values and dreams. Seneca also spoke a lot about helping others and doing good for society. Therefore, Stoicism and other philosophies recognize the important role of human relationships and creating strong communities for a fulfilling and meaningful life. The goal is to build genuine relationships that foster our moral and spiritual growth and make our journey more complete. Our search for happiness may be over, but the challenge of living well in today's world is just beginning. When we embrace the ancient teachings of the philosophy, we gain the strength to overcome any obstacle and live truthfully, purposefully, and resiliently. Join us on this journey of growth and overcoming. Subscribe, share, and embark on the path to invincibility. Embrace the teachings of Stoicism to live a modern life full of success and meaning. Next, I want to talk about something we've all felt at some point: the listlessness we experience right after waking up. It's sad, but most people don't feel like going to work or doing their chores. During the day, we look forward to leaving and returning home, where we can rest until the next day. Are we always thinking about and waiting for the next weekend? Many people dislike Mondays because they know they have a difficult week full of obligations ahead of them. This low feeling can cause us to lose motivation and enthusiasm to live the day. Unfortunately, this can lead to deep sadness or even depression for those affected. Marcus Aurelius reflected extensively on this topic when he himself was confronted with this difficulty. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor who reigned from 161 to 180 AD and was one of the most powerful men in the world at that time. Throughout his life, he kept a diary in which he recorded his daily thoughts. Long after his death, these writings were collected and known as the Meditations. In one passage, Marcus Aurelius wrote something important. When the next day arrives and you find it difficult to get out of bed, remember this: as a human being, I have a productive task to perform. Why should I complain? Was I put on this earth to fulfill my purpose, or merely to seek comfort under the covers? After thinking about this, Marcus Aurelius speaks to himself and comes to a conclusion. Staying in bed is undoubtedly more comfortable than working, so his goal should be to strive for comfort. But he realizes that he must not forget the hard work of the plants, birds, ants, spiders, and bees that work tirelessly to keep the world in order. As a human being, you are neglecting your responsibilities. You are not following what is natural for you. Of course, we need to sleep sometimes. However, here, just as with eating and drinking, nature has set limits. Have you gotten enough rest? Furthermore, he says that if we do not accept and respect our natural inclinations, we do not truly love ourselves. People who truly enjoy their work demonstrate great commitment. Sometimes these people even forget basic things like showering or eating because they're so focused on what they're doing. They have greater respect for themselves than a sculptor has for his work, a dancer for his dance, or a person who loves money for what they have. When they're fully focused on their work, they'd rather forego food and rest than put aside what they're currently creating. For Marco Aurelio, work is not just what we do at work, but also the small everyday things that make up our lives. In this sense, we are encouraged to be careful with our time and our decisions. Imagine if he had taken a different path. He probably wouldn't have become one of the 5 most admired emperors of the Roman Empire. As emperor, it was his responsibility to rule wisely, as the entire population depended on him. This thought applies not only to him, but to all of us. We are not born to stand still. Like plants that simply grow without obligations, We are human beings and must fulfill our duties and obligations. Keep a clear mind and do not be deceived by quick and fleeting pleasures. The true feeling of having acted honestly and carefully is far better than any momentary pleasure. The joy of performing our duties well is unique. Get up and begin your work without fear. Do not give up on what you must do. In his diary, Marcus Aurelius wrote a profound idea. The present moment is very important because time is uncertain. To learn this lesson, we must follow his example. When you have trouble getting out of bed, feel the weight of obligations, can't wait for the weekend, or are struck by the Monday blues, remember the words that don't lose their value over time. What do you think of Marcus Aurelius's reflections? Is there a way to avoid these bad thoughts? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But there's something important to understand. If you've been trying to step out of your comfort zone and learn more for a long time but haven't been able to, there may be something you're not aware of. I know what it could be. It's fear. Fear is like a snake that silently comes and influences you without you noticing. You feel bad for days, months, even years. Living like this is like being constantly sick, but I know a solution. Stoic philosophers and modern psychology have found a method that helps solve this problem. I managed to cure myself of this fear. I made a video explaining how you can get rid of this evil, and it's in the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and begin to cure yourself of this feeling of fear. To help you start your day with good energy, I've compiled 10 Stoic phrases for you to reflect on. 10th, true happiness comes when we stop worrying about things we can't control. The 9th says we should begin each morning knowing that the strength that comes from within is worth more than anything outside of us, as Seneca said. The 8th says it's not the situations around us that bother us, but rather the way we see them. Epictetus shared this idea to show how our perspective affects our emotions. The 7th phrase reminds us not to feel as if the success of others takes something away from us, as Marcus Aurelius wisely explained. The 6th phrase reveals to us that the secret to happiness lies in freedom, which, according to Seneca, comes from courage. The 5th states that Epictetus recommended not expecting everything to happen as we want it to, but accepting things as they come in order to live in peace. The 4th lesson emphasizes that it is not the objects or events themselves that bother us, but our interpretation of them, another of Epictetus's. The 3rd point reminds us that the present is the only right time to strive for happiness, for life passes quickly, as Seneca taught. The 2nd states that, according to Epictetus, it is not the facts that happen that matter, but how we react to them. Finally, the 1st sentence, which comes from an unknown author, advises us to begin the day with strength and end it feeling that we have fulfilled our duty. These ideas can be like little lights that guide our thoughts and attitudes throughout the day. If you're watching this video, you might find that procrastination is disrupting your life. I personally know that many of my problems stem from putting off things I need to do. As humans, we sometimes neglect our responsibilities and forget our natural duties. Of course, sleep is important, but rest, eating, and drinking also have natural limits. Have you been getting enough rest? Furthermore, Marcus Aurelius said that a lack of self-love occurs when we don't accept our natural inclinations. Those who love their work devote themselves wholeheartedly, sometimes even forgetting basic needs like food or personal hygiene. This respect they feel for themselves is greater than that a sculptor feels for their work, a dancer for their dancing, or someone who places great value on money. When they are fully focused on their mission, they would rather forego rest than give up their creative work. For Marco Aurelio, the concept of work goes beyond employment. It encompasses everything we do in our daily lives. Reflecting on this allows us to better control our time and our decisions. I imagine if he had made different choices, he probably wouldn't have been one of the most respected emperors of ancient Rome. As a leader, he had the responsibility to look after the empire, as millions of people depended on him. This idea doesn't just exist in history. We can apply it to our daily lives as well. We aren't born to remain silent and without responsibility like plants. We are human beings and must assume our roles. Keep a clear head and don't get carried away by short-lived pleasures. The feeling of having acted correctly and prudently is far greater than any fleeting pleasure. The satisfaction of doing one's job well is unique. Get up and start your work without fear. Don't neglect your obligations. Marcus Aurelius wrote a powerful idea in his diary. The present is very important because time is uncertain. To learn from this, we must follow his example. Whenever you feel like staying in bed, the burden of your responsibilities, the longing for the weekend, or the Monday blues overwhelm you, remember the words that never lose their value. What do you think of Marcus Aurelius's thoughts? Is there a way to get rid of these bad feelings? I really want to know what you think in the comments. To help you start your day on a positive note, I've compiled 10 Stoic phrases for you to reflect on. The 10th states that true happiness comes when we stop worrying about things beyond our reach. The 9th reminds us that it's important to begin the day with the understanding that the strength that comes from within is worth far more than material goods or external circumstances, as Seneca taught. The 8th phrase states that it's not the events themselves that bother us, but the way we perceive them. This idea is emphasized by Epictetus, who shows how our perspective influences our feelings. The 7th phrase states that we shouldn't view the success of others as something detrimental to our own well-being, as Marcus Aurelius wisely said. The 6th phrase states that the key to happiness is freedom, which, according to Seneca, comes from courage. The 5th states that Epictetus advises not to wait for everything to happen according to our wishes, but to accept facts as they come in order to live in peace. The 4th point underscores that, according to Epictetus, it is not things themselves that bother us, but how we see them. The 3rd point emphasizes that the present moment is the only right time to strive for happiness, since, according to Seneca, life passes quickly. The 2nd sentence shows that for Epictetus, it is not the events that affect us that matter, but how we react to them. The first text, attributed to an unknown author, states that one should begin the day with determination and end it with the feeling of having accomplished something important. These ideas can be like little lights that guide our thoughts and attitudes throughout the day. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're being held back by the habit of putting off tasks. Procrastination. I personally recognize that many of my problems stem from this tendency. When we begin to neglect our responsibilities, a number of difficulties arise. Performance declines, anxiety and worry increase, and the feeling of not fulfilling our obligations persists. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius were very concerned about procrastination because they had many obligations and couldn't afford to run away from them. Procrastination is not an easy thing to do, as people tend to seek immediate gratification rather than making an effort. Although I've talked a lot about discipline in another video, I recommend you watch this one first because discipline and overcoming procrastination go hand in hand. If you're watching, it means you want to change, be more productive, and control your thoughts and attitudes. Overcoming procrastination brings satisfaction and helps you live a happier life. It may be hard to believe, but for Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, the day had the same 24 hours as it does for us. Despite this, he managed to fulfill his duties with great efficiency. In addition to the duties associated with governing a vast and important empire, Marcus Aurelius devoted himself to philosophy and writing, cared for his family, enacted laws, led troops, and guided his people during a severe epidemic. What makes him special is his firm commitment to a virtuous and disciplined life. The secret of his success lay in following a fixed routine that helped him overcome his laziness and avoid procrastination. Ultimately, the best way to combat procrastination is to have consistent habits. Marco Aurelio naturally integrated his responsibilities into his life, just as we have basic needs like eating, bathing, and sleeping. He placed such importance on his responsibilities that he couldn't neglect them. The Stoics, like Aristotle, believed that we are shaped by what we do consistently, and that true excellence is a habit, not a single act. When the day began, Marco Aurelio woke up aware of his role as a human being and didn't allow himself to remain idle in bed. He used to write down his ideas and organize his thoughts in his diary, taking a few precious minutes to do this, which helped him focus on what mattered most. As Marcus Aurelius prepared to fulfill his duties, those around him warned him that on that day he would encounter people without respect or gratitude. These people would do anything to deliberately irritate and provoke him. Nevertheless, Marcus Aurelius knew he couldn't allow these attitudes to cloud his judgment and inner peace. He stood firm and acted according to his own values. Then he began his main tasks, deciding to do the most important thing first. Renewed and ready to work, he devoted his full attention to what he was doing, displaying the spirit of a true Roman, as he himself wrote in his meditations. His daily life proves that he doesn't accept postponing his obligations. If you want to know how I managed to act like Marco Aurelio and overcome the urge to put everything off, I'll share 7 strategies I use to avoid procrastination. These tips are divided into 2 parts. The first helps you prepare your mind to resist laziness, and the second offers practical steps to overcome this habit. Starting with the first part, you'll learn how to prepare your mind and focus your attention. Procrastination is a luxury that exists especially where we have the resources to postpone tasks. Therefore, it's important to create a sense of urgency to achieve what we need. When we leave everything to the last minute, we end up racing against time and getting things done in a hurry, which causes stress. But when the deadline approaches, laziness disappears and our productivity increases, all because of that sense of urgency. Setting our own deadlines and limits can help us overcome the urge to procrastinate. It is also good to have the help of a close person, such as a friend or family member, who will demand and enforce consequences if we fail to fulfill our obligations. The second tip is to avoid small distractions that don't contribute to progress or results. When we procrastinate, we often end up doing things that only distract us from our focus and provide no real benefit. These activities don't bring us true joy because we know deep down we should be doing something else. Therefore, it's important to prioritize work and postpone leisure time until later. The third tip is to organize your tasks differently. Some things are difficult and take a long time, so we tend to put them off, but can you concentrate for at least an hour without interruption? Probably. And even if it's just 5 minutes, that's plenty to start with. By breaking long tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, you set small goals that make the work seem easier and help you avoid procrastination. In the second part, we begin with the fourth tip, taking the first step. For those who struggle to get started, this is the biggest hurdle. But taking the first step means overcoming the biggest challenge. It's important to focus on the beginning, not on how long the task will take or how difficult it is. This beginning is what keeps the movement going. Once you start, the fear of having to stop and start over becomes an incentive to keep going. The fifth strategy is the rule of 5, which I use in my daily life and is linked to the previous step. This involves counting from 0 to 5 and immediately starting the task when you reach 5. The goal is to clear your mind of distractions and thoughts that delay starting. When I need to do something that makes me uncomfortable, I do this countdown and begin without overthinking. This technique has helped me a lot in several situations. Finally, the sixth tip is the Pomodoro technique. This involves dividing your work into time blocks, usually 25 minutes followed by short rest breaks. Working in smaller chunks allows you to complete tasks more easily and stay focused longer. If you have a lot of time ahead of you, say 5 hours straight, it can be difficult to get started. However, the Pomodoro technique can help you better organize your tasks. This technique involves working with full concentration for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. Each of these 25-minute periods is called a Pomodoro. Once you've completed 4 of these blocks, it's time for a 20-minute break before starting again. Working with full concentration for 25 minutes is possible for everyone. Once you've completed 4 Pomodoros, you'll have worked productively for 1 hour and 40 minutes without distractions. After this time, a 20-minute break for recovery is very important. Almost 2 hours of uninterrupted work can be daunting, and if you're not focused, distractions can creep in and derail your productivity. Just the thought of such a long session can make us want to put everything off. But with the Pomodoro technique, you break your work into smaller chunks and become more productive. Another important tip is to get rid of anything that might distract you. Our brains like to take the easy way out, so if you have a cell phone, video game, or anything else that might distract you, remove it from your workspace. Create an environment that makes procrastination as difficult as possible and helps you focus only on what needs to be done. To increase your productivity and avoid procrastination, first identify all the things that hinder your performance and get them out of the way. This way, you'll have a harder time giving in to laziness. What do you think of these tips for avoiding procrastination? Do you use any other techniques? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget that discipline is essential for these strategies to truly work. Without discipline and the will to change, our efforts will be useless. In the next part, we'll discuss a very interesting topic closely linked to Stoic philosophy: solitude. For them, being alone was a valuable tool for getting to know oneself better and growing as a person. Today, we'll look at the 10 benefits of solitude according to Stoic teachings and how you can incorporate them into your daily life, even today. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and activate the bell for more interesting content. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about solitude and Stoic philosophy. As we continue to explore the wisdom of the Stoics, we now turn our attention to a very important topic: loneliness. Before I get into the benefits associated with it, I would like to explain a little about Stoicism and its connection to the concept of being alone, a philosophy for a better life. For the Stoics, loneliness was neither something sad nor bad. On the contrary, they saw it as a valuable opportunity to reflect on themselves, to better understand who they are, and to grow morally, even in a world full of confusion and distractions. Solitude was like a wise teacher who gave us moments of peace and isolation in which we could face our feelings, dreams, and true values without the masks we wear in front of others. The Stoics placed great value on self-sufficiency, the ability to rely on oneself and control one's emotions, especially when alone. They understood that solitude is a way to find peace and happiness without the approval or expectations of others. Through this time alone, we can build a powerful inner strength that remains unchanged despite everything that happens around us. Another important point is knowing yourself deeply. Self-knowledge is a fundamental principle of Stoicism. When we are alone, we find a special place to explore the thoughts and feelings we often ignore in our daily lives. Solitude acts like a silent mirror, showing us who we truly are inside, allowing us to face our truth and discover what truly motivates us. In this moment, we can carefully observe our emotions, fears, dreams, and doubts. Being alone gives us the chance to contemplate ourselves without being influenced by the opinions of others, without having to hide who we are or pretend to be someone else. The Stoics believe that it is because of this deep awareness that we can be self-sufficient. It is said that delving into self-knowledge is crucial to finding inner freedom, which frees us from the desire to be recognized by others. When we truly understand who we are, we stop seeking the approval of others and begin to find that certainty within ourselves. This autonomy gives us a lasting peace because we are unaffected by the constantly changing opinions around us. To develop this awareness of who we are, it is very important to calmly reflect on our own thoughts. Imagine yourself alone, talking to yourself as if you were a wise and understanding friend, reflecting on your attitudes, dreams, and mistakes. This genuine dialogue helps us better understand who we are and gives us the strength to make choices that reflect our true lifestyle habits and values. Autonomy, the ability of a nation to be independent and provide for itself, is fundamental to its growth. The same concept of self-sufficiency, which was very important to the ancient Stoics, also applies to people. Have you ever considered how to find inner peace without requiring control from anything or anyone outside of you? The solitude and self-sufficiency taught by the Stoics could be the answer to this quest. For them, self-sufficiency was the inner strength that remains unchanged, even when everything around it is uncertain and unpredictable. On this path, solitude is a great help, as it takes us away from the noise and distractions of the world, allows us to reflect more deeply on ourselves, and reduces external interruptions. Being independent is like a shield that protects us from the influence of others' thoughts and expectations. When we are constantly surrounded by other people's opinions and judgments, it is very difficult to remain calm and balanced. But by embracing solitude, we can distance ourselves from these pressures and trust more in our own wisdom and what we believe to be right. This gives us the opportunity to control our lives and our emotions, which the Stoics considered the greatest sign of self-sufficiency. When we are alone, we must closely observe our emotions and reactions and learn not to let them immediately control us. This self-control helps you live consciously and fairly, rather than acting impulsively in the face of events. In a society that places so much emphasis on consumerism, it can be difficult to live with fewer material things. But achieving self-sufficiency means growing and thriving with what is truly necessary. The Stoics placed great value on simplicity and balance. In solitude, we have the chance to become aware of what truly matters and to detach ourselves from the desire for goods and possessions in order to be happy. In these moments, we find true wealth within ourselves rather than looking for it outside ourselves. Now let's talk about how to face emotions head-on, a topic that piques everyone's curiosity. By looking at feelings from a Stoic perspective, we can better understand how to deal with them calmly and wisely. On this path to recognizing and controlling our feelings, solitude can be a great ally. Just as the ocean has calm and strong waves, our emotions also change. They fluctuate from calm to turmoil. The Stoics understood very well how we humans are. They knew it's natural to experience emotions. However, they also taught that we must not allow them to control our actions. Solitude offers us a safe place where we can freely explore our emotions without fear of being judged or influenced by others. It's like a special laboratory where we can observe and understand our feelings calmly and impartially. When we are alone, we have the rare opportunity to see our feelings clearly, as if watching gentle clouds drifting across the vast sky. This detachment from emotions helps us act more calmly and thoughtfully, rather than reacting quickly and thoughtlessly. The ancient Stoics learned to use these methods for managing emotions when they were alone, and these ideas are highly effective. There are two key ways to feel prepared and calm. The first is to imagine difficult situations and practice responding calmly and rationally. Second, we should reflect on our own mortality. This helps us better understand our worries and more appreciate the moment we live in. For the Stoics, it was possible to transform our emotions into positive forces. For example, fear could be transformed into courage, anger into self-control, and sadness into the strength to carry on. By taking time to be alone, we could reflect on our feelings, understand where they come from, and harness their energy to act well and rightly. Now let's talk about how to make decisions more clearly. Have you ever felt lost in the face of so many options before you? Solitude can be a constant aid in finding the best path. When we reach important moments in life, the choices seem as numerous as the stars in the night sky. Often, the confusing opinions of others make it difficult to make judgments and leave us perplexed. Solitude gives us a space of rest and reflection where we can calmly and clearly consider the options available to us. Amidst life's difficulties, solitude is considered a peaceful refuge to find peace and better understand what we should choose. When we go through difficult times, we have the strength to detach ourselves from the noise and demands of the world around us and seek solace within ourselves. In solitude, we find a safe place where we can better understand our feelings, reflect on what we have experienced, and gather the strength we need to face challenges with firm courage. The sixth teaching of the Stoics deals specifically with overcoming difficulties. For them, difficult times are an opportunity to strengthen what is truest within us. When we are alone, we can think like a Stoic and ask, what lesson can I learn from this situation? How can I grow despite the obstacles I face? Being alone gives us the strength to transform problems into fertile ground for developing virtues such as resilience, self-control, and perseverance. Strengthening the mind in solitude is comparable to an athlete training alone to become physically stronger. When we take the time to train our minds, we learn to face difficulties with calm and courage. The Stoics recommended imagining difficulties before they occur, thinking about the challenges that might arise, and considering how to overcome each one with confidence and courage. This practice helps you face problems prepared and without fear. Now let's move on to number 7, learning to appreciate the simple things in life. Let's look at something that brings us happiness and contentment, the joy of the little things. Have you ever felt like you always want more, and as a result, the joy disappears? Through solitude, you can learn to find happiness by living with less and appreciating what is truly important. The Stoics remind us that in a world where great emphasis is placed on material things and newness, there is beauty in simplicity. Being alone allows us to escape the noise of society and notice the small moments that often go unnoticed. This helps us enjoy ordinary things and appreciate what we already have. According to the Stoics, true peace is achieved by cultivating joy as an important virtue. Solitude contributes to developing this joy because it gives us time to reflect on whether we truly need more things or whether we are simply trapped in a constant desire for more. Gratitude, or the act of being thankful, is very important to the Stoics and is part of the idea of finding happiness in what we already have, especially when we are alone and reflecting on our lives. When we are alone, we can learn to appreciate everything we have and notice the good things in our lives, such as health, friends, comfort, and the beauty around us. This habit helps us find joy in the present without having to wait for happiness in the future. Now let's talk about the importance of talking to yourself and delving into your own thoughts. Have you ever wanted to have a real, honest conversation with yourself? Solitude gives us the chance to better know who we truly are by practicing inner dialogue. Talking to ourselves is like having a wise and kind friend inside our heads. When we are alone, we can talk at length about our thoughts, dreams, and values. Solitude is like a safe place where we can think and reflect freely. Imagine solitude as an art studio for the mind, where the most important questions of our lives arise. When we are away from the noise of the world, we have time to quietly reflect on the decisions we make, the goals we pursue, and the path we choose. By talking to ourselves, we can explore our ideas, question our beliefs, and open our minds to new ways of seeing the world. Profound questions are very powerful. The Stoics valued this type of questioning because it helps us discover who we truly are. In solitude, we can ask ourselves, what is truly important to me? What qualities do I want to develop? How can I live in harmony with nature? These questions are like a map that guides our thinking and motivates us to act purposefully. Talking to yourself isn't just thinking, it's also acting. In solitude, we can plan our steps and put into practice what we learn through reflection. This inner dialogue helps us put ideas into action, set goals, and make decisions that align with our values. The next point concerns our connection with nature and the vast universe that surrounds us. Let's explore together how, according to the Stoics, we can feel connected to the world and the infinite sky. When we contemplate nature, we recognize the greatness of the world, which is a part of us and teaches us how to live wisely. Accepting loneliness can be a way to discover this deep connection. The universe becomes our teacher, teaching us with its great wisdom. The Stoics believed that the cosmos was a precious teacher, teaching us lessons about the meaning of life and how to become better people. When we are alone and gaze at the stars and planets in the sky, we feel like we are part of something much greater. This powerful connection with the universe makes us reflect on who we are and our place in this grand cosmic scheme. Solitude acts as a bridge between our emotions and the natural world around us. In these moments, we can lose ourselves in the tranquility of the forest, admire the immensity of the ocean, or simply be enchanted by the colors of the sunset. Solitude gives us the opportunity to appreciate the beauty of nature and reflect on the teachings of the Stoics, such as harmony and the strength to persevere even in difficult times. They believed that humanity's problems are small compared to the immense order of the universe. When we are alone, we can see how our desires and worries diminish in the face of the vastness of the cosmos. This mindset helps you to give less importance to the little things and focus on what matters most. The pursuit of knowledge and the development of good qualities are fundamental. For the Stoics, finding inner peace meant being in harmony with nature. By embracing solitude, we better understand how our actions and decisions are connected to the order of the universe. By quietly reflecting, we recognize the impact our actions have on others and the world around us. Therefore, cultivating virtue and tranquility is very important. Now we come to a key point that sums up Stoicism: developing good qualities and maintaining peace of mind. Have you always wanted to live with wisdom and peace, even in the face of challenges? Let solitude be the light that guides you on this beautiful journey. In the end, it is virtue that matters most. The Stoics valued virtue above all else and considered it the primary goal of life. Think of virtue as a light that guides your decisions and actions along your path. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to reflect on how to live correctly in different situations, and thus find inner peace. Having peace of mind is a very important concept for the Stoics. Even when life seems confusing and hectic, solitude is a way to find a peaceful path. Through meditation, we can reflect on how to remain calm even in difficult times and use solitude as a safe place to rest and recover our emotions. The Stoics knew that solitude is a special means of strengthening personal discipline, as it contributes to developing virtue and maintaining inner peace. In solitude, we have the opportunity to resist distractions and focus on what is essential. This practice makes it easier to face the temptations and challenges of everyday life. When we are alone, we can reflect on our actions, identify where we can improve, and set goals to become fairer and more balanced people. Solitude gives us the space to fully dedicate ourselves to our own growth. Amid the complexity of modern life, we can embrace the wisdom of the Stoics and apply their teachings to our daily lives. By taking time for ourselves to be alone, we strengthen our self-confidence and inner strength. When difficult emotions arise, we learn to deal with them calmly and with control. We make thoughtful choices and always strive to live virtuously and maintain inner peace. It's important to remember that we can create these special moments of solitude, whether through meditation, walks in nature, reading, or talking with our thoughts. In doing so, you'll follow the same path as the ancient Stoics and begin a journey of self-knowledge and spiritual growth. We really appreciate you joining us on this philosophical adventure and helping to spread these ideas. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content. Feel free to comment and share your experiences with solitude and Stoicism. Never forget that being alone can be a great friend in your quest to achieve your best. See you in the next video.